At the outbreak of the Civil War in 1861 and continuing through 1864, thousands of soldiers, civilians, and free and enslaved men labored to construct an earthen fort to provide protection for sleek, blockade-running vessels entering the port of Wilmington, North Carolina. Over a half-mile of connected traverses, mounting over 47 heavy coastal cannons, Fort Fisher was the Gibraltar of the South, and Wilmington was known as the lifeline of the Confederacy. According to Colonel William Lamb, General Robert E. Lee had sent word that if Fort Fisher fell, he could not maintain his army, and that meant the loss of our cause. Ulysses S. Grant and Lincoln administration realized the strategic importance of Fort Fisher and Wilmington and sent a combined Army-Navy force to capture the fort in December 1864. Poorly executed, this first thrust failed. The combined force returned on January 12, 1865 and began the largest bombardment and amphibious campaign in U.S. history up to World War II. Nearly 3 million pounds of Navy projectiles were hurled against the dismounting most of the fort's land-based artillery. The federal force of 10,000 soldiers, sailors, and Marines attacked the fort on January 15th, and the garrison of roughly 2,500 soldiers. The bloody hand-to-hand combat lasted 8 hours and resulted in Fort Fisher's capture and almost 4,000 Union and Confederate casualties. 70 medals of honor were awarded in testament to the valor exhibited here. Following the fall of Fort Fisher and closure of the port of Wilmington, General Lee's prophecy was realized when the Civil War ended within 90 days. Fort Fisher Battlefield and State Historic Site is a National Historic Landmark, the highest designation for important sites that play a critical role in the development of our nation. However, there are currently few public dollars available to expand, explain, and exhibit the importance of historical battlefields like Fort Fisher. Visitors can understand what they see, touch, and experience. This is especially true of the children who visit with school groups from across the state each year. Over 20,000 school children came to Fort Fisher last year, but inadequate cramped facilities, exhibits, tours, and staffing severely limited us. You, our supporters, can ensure that the resources are available to teach many more children in fascinating surroundings just how important this space is. The sacrifices of our forebears have to be told. By your support of the Telling Your Story campaign, the resources will be available and leveraged for matching grants to fulfill goals of this initial phase of propelling Fort Fisher into the place of prominence it deserves in our nation's history and the consciousness of our citizens.
Help me save Fort Fisher for my children.